Ooh, I ran into some tea, honey. Yes, indeed. God knows I love T.S. Madison, honey. That girl always keeps us up on the and I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag in all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for season 1, episode 5 of Bringing Up Ballers. Okay, so like I said, I got some tea, so you have to stick around till the end of this review, which, my reviews aren't that long, honey. Just roll with me. Trust me, it'll be worth it. When you heard me say T.S. Madison, you know the tea is hot as hell. Okay, so let's talk about this episode. Um, we were introduced to a new character. Tiffany was out with this chick named Katrina. She has a son named AJ. So we met Katrina. I can tell you from the door, I don't care for Katrina. Katrina is very aggressive. Um, and she very much pushes it onto her son. And she, throughout this episode, pretty much worked her son into some bullshit that I just thought it was very, very unattractive. So from the door, I'm not a Katrina fan. So how about that? She was basically, she was taking her son to work with Miss Foster as well. And as the program progressed, we actually saw her have a run-in with Nikki. And it just didn't go well. Her and Nikki kind of they just butt heads right away. And again, we found out about Nikki. Nikki is that's one of those things we have in common that we kind of. I would love to know what her birthday is. I wonder if Nikki's a Capricorn because you can see that Nikki kind of knows who she's going to get along with and who she's not going to get along with from the door, and she'll have a whole lot of time to play around with it. But she shut Katrina's ass down. She's like, bitch, from the door, and that's so very me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right. I said, okay. They had that little thing, and they butted heads. And then the next time you see Katrina, she's fucking telling her son to get at Namari. I'm like, bitch, I ain't feeling that. I'm not feeling that. And I'm like, now see, the thing is, what'll end up happening when you play those kinds of games, you'll mess around and get you and AJ a good ass whooping. So I didn't like that at all. That didn't sit well with me at all. Yeah, that didn't sit well with me at all. And again, it all came to a big thing at the end of the episode. We'll talk about it. Just hang on. But I didn't like that. Let's talk about Payton and Johanna. Johanna actually met with Payton, and they talked about what was going on with her and Nikki, and Payton was trying to make some sense of it all. And nobody's buying into the Nikki versus Johanna beef. None of the ladies in the crew want to even entertain it. They want it to stop. They want peace in the valley. They just ain't feeling it. You know what I mean? And they don't want it to trickle down to the kids. And I've seen that right away. So that's very, very endearing. At the time, we got to see Payton, and I'm getting a softer spot for Payton. We got to see Payton at work. Payton is a fierce ass businesswoman, is what I'm finding. She actually owns 3 daycares, and she also has an Italian restaurant. I understand firsthand how hard she works because I ran a daycare. I had my own daycare when my kids were small. I left work and I opened a daycare so I could be home with my children until they became school age. So I understand everything that it is, to run a daycare, and mine was a smaller daycare. She has daycare centers, so that's even more work. That's even more dealing with the state and that kind of thing. So I had to back up off of Miss Payton. Miss Payton, okay, girl, I'll give you that. Now I'm not going to take it up off of her personality. Her personality is still a bit much. She's still a bit much, and she's still a little too. You know what I mean? Even there's some things that can be pulled back. Because even after graduation, she looked like she's going to go to the club. So, but serious, fierce businesswoman. Hey, my hat was off to her with that. 3 daycares, girl, you better fucking do it. And a restaurant, 2 of the worst businesses in the world, honey, but you making it work. So I'm here for that. Let's see. Then there was a party for George. She had a party for George, and she was inviting both ladies. So that was one of her things. She's like, I'm going to invite both ladies, and they're going to act accordingly because I'm not going to have no bullshit. And they did. They basically Nikki kind of stayed to herself, and Johanna cleared it. She came in first Johanna's sneaky. Johanna's the snake. She came in, cleared the air with Tiffany right away. Okay, because remember, she didn't like Tiffany. Her and Tiffany had a bad thing. She cleared the air with Tiffany, and then she worked the room quickly to get folks talking to her, to pretty much, because she knows Nikki, and Nikki ended up pretty much sitting by herself. You know what I mean? Nikki just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't need. See, again, she's one of them self-confident bitches. I don't need the room on my side. I don't need people to be on my side. I'm on my side. I know what my standpoint is, and fuck you. And she's very much that. And Johanna knows it. Johanna was, I see you. I see you, bitch. She's working an angle. Heather and Payton ended up meeting after that, and they talked and said, we need to end it. We got to end it. I seen the separation during George's party. We need to end it. We need to put a shoe in this right now. So what she says is they're both real estate agents. What we're going to do is I want to sell my house. Payton, she wants to sell her house. So I'm going to get the 2 of them together to sell my house. It's either going to work real, real well, or going to work real, real bad. So it's either going to end the friendship or mend the friendship. It was interesting. So she pulled them there for intervention, and they mended it for camera's sake. Okay, it mended, but Nikki was still on her. I'm watching you, bitch, with one good eye, because I ain't really feeling you. Okay, so just hold that. That's basically what had went on. So at the same time, there is a little tournament, a 3-on-3 tournament that they are actually having. And at the tournament, what ended up happening was the whole thing came to fruition where Katrina had told her son about getting at Namari, and that it was okay to foul Namari and all of that. And sure enough, didn't they get to fighting? Just like I said, this is a nice way for you to get your ass whooped and your son to get his ass whooped. Ain't nobody for that bullshit. So I didn't like that. That was terrible. It just wasn't. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good look. I didn't like it at all. That Katrina, if her and AJ never come back on the show, I'll be fine with that. I don't care for them. But the one thing that I did get to see, we got to see Miss Foster. She got to redeem herself of what we've seen and heard about Miss Foster, because Miss Foster was very, very upset. I mean, noticeably upset. And she did not like the fact that those kids were fighting with each other. And that's what she was telling them. You heard her telling them, you know what, I coach all of you. And she does. She's like private coach to all of them, even with Tiffany's boy, where she was his coach. And she told all those kids, you are all my kids, and I'll not have my kids fighting each other. So I was here for Miss Foster for that because I was kind of like ticked with her before, like hell. But we got to see more of her and we see more camera time with her. And when she said that just I was like, okay, she's all right, Miss Foster. All right, girl. Cool. And it's so funny. I hate to even really bring this up because she just passed. Doesn't Miss Foster kind of remind you of Auntie Fee? And it's one of them things like you can't. I don't care what run-in you ever had with Auntie Fee. You couldn't help but like Fee. Auntie Fee was that girl. So it didn't matter what type of run-in you had with her, if she cussed you out or whatever. Because her and I, we had a run-in. It was no big deal. But we squashed it and we both liked each other's personality and it just squashed. And I loved Fee. It was what it was. We just had a couple words a couple times. But Fee, Fee passed away not long ago and it was a big hit. And it is a big hit to the YouTube community altogether. We are going to miss the hell out of Auntie Fee. But Miss Foster definitely puts me in mind of Auntie Fee. She does. Her stature and the way she moves about, all of that. She reminds me of Fee. But okay, anyway, so let me get off of that. Okay, so let me move on to this tea I was talking about. So T.S. Madison did an interview on Facebook Live with Miss Nikki B, honey. And then two of them got to sitting down, they got to talking, and we found out more about Nikki. And yeah, I listened to a lot of what she had to say, and a lot of things I was like, Nikki. But a lot of things I was like, oh my God, I do shit the same way. You know what I mean? So that was that. And then they talked a lot about how the media has come forth and saying that they were objectifying the kids and maybe they were using the kids to come up and all of that. And I didn't view it that way at all. And she really explained, like, honey, no, we have money. We have careers. These children have a lavish lifestyle. These kids, we ain't using them to make money, baby. These kids live well. And you actually can see that. They live well, like I told you. And even Payton had called in and she got to talk to Payton. And again, just a little time that Madison actually spoke with Payton made me like Payton, a little more. She's a party girl. And she's one of the people, she's just a party girl. That's just who she is. And she is likable. I don't want to run my motherfucking man, but she's very likable, and really down to earth and really about business and about the bottom line. You know what I mean? Which is always green. So yeah, it was a real good interview. But in that interview, you found out that little argument between Nikki and the show done wrapped and all that. Nikki and the Twin Towers ain't the Twin Towers no more still. They still ain't fucking with each other, okay? And the biggest thing about it really wasn't all about just the press conference thing. There was that, and there was a comment that was made. Nikki undoubtedly hangs with the children a lot. And you can see it in her because she has the whole quad thing and the Tamar thing. She uses our lingo and she's very, she's okay. Don't do it, Miss Thing. You could tell she hangs around the kids and she's very sincere with it. Okay. Well, she said that Johanna had actually, this was pulled. They squashed this. They didn't put it onto the show. And I understand why, because there'd be no show. Johanna had said to her, they were in the midst of a back and forth for sure, where you better stop hanging around the people you hang around. You keep on hanging around the people, it's going to be just like it is, and your son's going to end up that way. So she insinuated that her hanging around the gays is going to eventually end up making her son be gay. Guess what, Johanna? See, I had some things to say about you and your personality last week. And girl, you just a damn clown. She just a damn clown. And Nikki couldn't get past it. And she made no apologies for the fact that comment was enough. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. She couldn't get past that. How dare you? How dare you? You know what I mean? And it was one thing, I don't feel like that about the gays. And then on top of it, how dare you put that, try to talk that into light about my child. It was very insensitive and it was very undercutting. It was horrible. I mean, that's a horrible thing. We all know we're all black. We're in the black community. Nobody wants to be labeled gay if they're not. It is what it is. I have no problem with who I am. But nobody, if I wasn't gay, no, I wouldn't want people saying that I was gay. You know what I mean? And for her to say that about that child was out of order. And the worker is, Nikki, don't even worry about it, because usually the people that throw that shit around, they're the ones that end up with the gay kids. Ask me how I know. It didn't happen to my mother, but I got a lot of family members and things, honey, who it did happen to, honey. So, watch what holes you dig, honey, because sometimes you forget to dig the second one. There's only one left, honey, and guess who ends up in it? Anyway, so that was that. I told y'all I had a little bit of tea for y'all. Thanks to my girlfriend, Miss T.S. Madison, honey. Keep on doing what you're doing, Maddie. Girl, we love it, honey. All right, so that's it for this week, and I will see you guys soon. Later.